In the end, the score doesn't look so bad, but we all know what happened here tonight at Florida State. We all know what happened here tonight on Bobby Bowden Field, and it wasn't very pretty. And we're going to be talking about it right here on Warchant TV. This is the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In show built by TSpark Enterprises. He is Gene Williams, founder and administrator of Warchant.com. My name is Tom Lang, and we're a pissed-off bunch here tonight because Florida State laid a bit of an egg. Miami was the better team. Miami was the more physical team. The score at the end is not indicative of what we watched for 3+ quarters. Gene, you give Florida State credit for obviously fighting to the bitter end, but not much more than that, at least in my book. How do you feel about what you saw tonight?
Yeah, I know this is a weird one because, I mean, first of all, we can accept Miami's a good team. They're a top 10 team. Maybe they're going to compete for a national championship. I don't know. They are a complete team, experienced quarterback, really good offensive line. Those 2 stud defensive ends, great running backs. So, yeah, I mean, but to me, I don't think Florida State's that different than Miami. The problem is, let's start with 3 turnovers in the game. There's a fine line. When you do the things Florida State did, especially in that first half, you're going to lose to a quality team, even if you are a quality team. And I think FSU is in a bad position when they fall behind and they're not dictating to. It's kind of a weird dynamic. To me, it's the 3 turnovers you had. I mean, just killed FSU to none. You had, Jacob Rizzi on a play ended a drive when he jumped on a guy to back up. And I don't know why he was in there, too, because it was weird in the injury reports. Maybe we can get into that later. He was a backup. That killed a drive and probably cost you some points. And let's even start. And again, I don't want to – officials suck. We know it. They're the ACC. But to start out a drive when you're down near the goal line and Deuce gets mugged – clearly an over-the-top PI penalty not called, cost you 4 points right off the bat. A lot of stuff like that. Again, it sounds like we're making excuses. I'm not. Miami was a better team, deserved to win tonight. But to me, everybody's going to say, oh, but FSU was so dominated. Well, yeah, they were. But when you do all these stupid things early on against a good team, you're in big trouble. And FSU was in big trouble all night because of all that stuff. But I didn't like some of the play. I thought they were a little too tricky. There's a fine line between being innovative, trying to keep someone off balance, and being a little too tricky and gimmicky. I thought FSU was a little too gimmicky at times too with some of the play calling. But anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Go for it, Tom.
No, that's fine. This is the night for soapboxes, and that's why we're here on Warchant TV. So we're going to get your reaction. We're going to get your phone calls for big wins and losses like this one. Even though the score doesn't read that way, this is a really not a good loss. It's going to be your night to react, to ask questions, to vent, whatever it is. Florida State was bullied for good stretches of this football game. They're not strong enough on defense. They hung in there as best they could in the first half. Miami only had 24 rush yards at the break, but it's because they were able to throw the ball pretty much at will. Miami's first drive is short-circuited by a second down throw. Carson Beck, one of his only incompletions in the first half, in which you're roasted. He just underthrows the hell out of the football. But you remember your secondary there, I think it was Edwin Joseph, gets roasted in that situation. And Florida State you saw a lot of things that you saw against Virginia last week, Gene, in which there's fighting for extra yards, falling forward, pushing through. This defense just isn't strong enough. That's what I saw over 4 quarters. But I think the storyline today, if you're looking at most disappointing, we had expectations for Tommy Castellanos in the offense tonight. This is one of the bigger duds I've ever seen from a Florida State quarterback in a Miami game in which you had expectations for the quarterback. There have been years where we had no expectations, and it was a dud performance from the quarterback. But what we thought we were going to see from Tommy and what we got from Tommy in the formative moments, the first 3 quarters of this game, it was not good at all. This was bad Tommy Castellanos. If you thought he was beyond those duds he had at Boston College, tonight proves he's not. And I thought he was a little off from the first drive. I know that Florida State goes down the field. A couple of those read options didn't look correct.
Yeah.
And then from there, some of the decisions he made, mentally doesn't look like it was a great night for Tommy Castellanos. And then obviously performance-wise, a lot of poor throws. And so if your quarterback's bad, you take a couple of penalties. There is a call on the first drive. You're right. You add all these things together, and then Miami makes all these little plays, and they're stronger and they're faster. That's how you get to 28-3.
Mm-hmm. We thought Tommy had so much experience all the times at BC, playing all the games, the Alabama game. He had the experience. It seemed like the moment was a little big for him, to your point, Tom. And it was interesting, and I didn't know this during the game, so I switched later. I didn't realize the ACC network was doing its own feed. Jimbo was giving color commentary during this, and it was awesome. because he knows football. And he was just, a lot of times he was pointing out some of the happy feet and some of the wrong reads he was doing on plays and stuff like that. But
Yep.
it was great to get his insight. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Tommy was just, it was so much hype for this game, and we knew how important this game was and everything else. And I think it got to him, especially, I think early on, you could tell really good that first drive, should have had the touchdown, and then the turnovers happened, and I think he started pressing at that point. And just in any sport, you get that, any athlete, when you start pressing, you get out of your fundamentals, bad things usually happen, and they did.
I think the amount of explosive plays that were left on the table because your quarterback failed in a lot of situations is a little. It's going to be a little much. I doubt anybody wants to go back and watch this game. We will. We'll send Dominic Robinson home to Arizona with some Pepto that he can chug before he looks at it for us. That's what it's going to take to look through those first three quarters. Not pinning everything on the quarterback, but I'm telling you, he played poorly tonight, and it really was a significant factor in Florida State not doing what they potentially could have. Gene, for example, a third down play, it's a tricky double reverse, whatever it is. Randy Pittman's wide the hell open up the right sideline. I don't know how the hell he missed it. He's running into the throw, and there's momentum.
That's a touchdown.
Forward. Right. If it isn't, you're inside the 10-yard line or 20-yard line. And if you can't make that throw, you've got a running back who's releasing in that setting that's wide open as well. It's schemed open. You have your momentum. It's not like you're getting hit as you throw. Make the freaking throw. And there are a couple other ones, like the fourth down throw, where did he not know the safety was back there? It's a nice play by the kid to come off of the receiver slot left and undercut the throw. But Tommy, what are we doing here? Also, you have a running back releasing in that situation again, who's open. Tommy forced a lot of things tonight, and it just wasn't good.
I was thinking, is this guy a freshman? Because kind of the moment was too big when he threw that fourth down play, and we threw the one in the end zone too. It was kind of like, when you look back, like, well, what are you doing? You're an experienced quarterback. You've got all these starts. Who makes a throw like that? That was just like a desperation. Oh, I'm just kind of going to throw it up there and hope something happens. Yeah, I mean, I hate to put too much on him. I mean, he's been very good for Florida State, but he had unfortunately a bad night at a really bad time when you're playing a team like Miami. You just can't. He had to play at the top of his game for FSU to win this, and he definitely didn't.
The thing I'll say is, as they make their comeback, it's important to note these things. So they get the 2-point conversion after getting it to whatever that was, 19. And he gets rolled up on, or he gets twisted by Mesidor as he comes down and he's hurt. I do love seeing all of his teammates rally to him to pick him up off the turf. Offensive linemen, skill position players, it didn't matter. That means they're still invested in Tommy. He's still the leader of this football team. That's important to note, because I think we're going to be talking. I think Name Sperry's going to come up tonight. Man, they still play for him. Exactly. They still play for him. They did finish this game as well as they possibly could have, but this wasn't good enough. This was ass cheeks. Florida State got destroyed tonight. Yeah. And that's unfortunate, but that was the score looks a lot better cosmetically, but we all know what the substance is tonight.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll repeat it again. I mean, you played a really good team. We'll see how good Miami ends up being today, but let's face it, they beat Florida, they beat Notre Dame, and they beat Florida State. That's pretty good on the resume right now for them. So you're playing, there's no margin for error, especially when you said your quarterback plays poorly, you turn the ball over a bunch. You make a couple boneheaded plays in key situations when the game was still on the line in the first half, and you fell way down at halftime, and it was effectively over at that point because Miami's too good in the line of scrimmage, and you're just not – that offense was not going to be able to, put up enough points at that point to do it. But, yeah, you were hoping – I think the one thing we all thought going into this, Tom, the offense is going to move the ball effectively and score points, and really for 3+ quarters, it was inept. And that's that. At the end of the day, that was the difference.
Look, yeah, I think we all agree that this game it was probably going to live in the upper 20s to the upper 30s, somewhere in there. Yeah. And so Miami's got 14 points in the break. You're right on schedule for all the things that maybe the defense frustrated you with. And I was frustrated by a lot of the coverages that were busted, and that's not great. But they're at 14 at the break. They've only rushed for 24 yards on 12 carries. You did do some things differently to rise up, come up, and stop the run. You're giving up the pass in order to do that. It's like anything else. There's a trade-off. But I thought Florida State did come out and they did muscle up against the run, and that was good. It took Miami off of plan A. So it's at the break. It's 14 points. The sore thumb that's sticking out is the offense was crap, and that's tough because I don't necessarily think a ton of it is on the play caller. I know we're going to hear that tonight, and that's fair. If that's your opinion, That's fine. And I understand, Gene, what you're talking about, like the overly abundant tricks and misdirections and gimmicky stuff.
But you had a good point on the one. It should have worked. You're right. It threw me that the broadcasters didn't say anything about, like, when they saw, like, if you look at when they showed that quick replay, they cut away, and I'm like, whoa, he's way downfield, wide open.
He's got a
that
5-yard head
20
start.
yards. I was underthrown by 20 yards. Like, what in the world, Tommy? What are we doing?
Yeah, at the point that he's releasing the ball, I don't know how that's anything but an explosive, and instead it's just garbage. And that was a toughie. So we're going to get your thoughts here in a little bit on the phone lines. Those are live. Let's put the number up on the screen. We're going to try to keep everybody to, again, a minute to 90 seconds. Give a little bit more leeway in case you got a real event tonight. Totally understand that. This is a frustrating evening on the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In show built by TSpark Enterprises. And I'm sure there's some hate watchers in here tonight. Welcome to all of you. Try not to get arrested tonight. I'm sure you're going to have a very nice evening, as that was thorough for the first 3 quarters, what Florida State was subjected to. A quick word here. We're not taking a full break, but TSpark Enterprises has been awarded the Distinguished GAF Gold Elite Commercial Contractors Award. No awards for Florida State tonight. And has also been awarded the Platinum from Atlas Pro. These recognitions are a testament to their relentless pursuit of excellence and the superior service they offer to customers in North Florida and South Georgia. What was excellent for Florida State tonight was extremely limited. Not a whole lot of excellent. The pregame fanfare, all of it. I'm not just talking about the band song. I'm talking about the whole thing, the way they presented it tonight, Gene, on the way it looked on television. They waited the extra minute to let the chop build, and then they break it. You get they break through the whatever the hell you call it, the logo. You get the fireworks going. You get 4K, beautiful prime time setting. This is a recruiter's dream, the way the game started. First drive, electric. It ends with a field goal instead of a touchdown. But then from there, it was just sorry. And I wonder what kind of recruiting impacts we're going to see tonight. It was perfect until it was perfectly awful.
Well, the positive side, there is a lot, it's very nuanced in recruiting. And I think a lot of fans, I made my way early on doing nothing but recruiting. I mean, that's kind of how Warchant found its way. And so I've talked to hundreds, if not 1,000+ kids about stuff. And I think the whole win-loss thing is a little overrated. I think going there, being the atmosphere, seeing a lot of the other stuff, the campus, and the atmosphere could not have been better inside that stadium tonight. So, it's not great, but I mean, I don't think it's awful either. It's not going to be the death knell of recruiting. There's a lot bigger things in recruiting than losing a game to Miami at home. Oh, well, at least, I mean, you fought back. It wasn't like, look, I get, on paper, it looks a lot better than it really did in the game. But at the end of the day, they fought back. It's within 10 points. I mean, it's not a bad at the end of the day for these recruits. So I'm not worried about that.
A few comments to start. Dominic says 3 turnovers, lost all our recruits tonight. We'll see if they stayed the whole way. We'll find out about that, because it was a laugher in the third quarter. Florida State did rally back somewhat. Main burner, okay, all right. When you shop the ACC bargain bin, don't expect SEC returns. C Black, is Norvell back on the hot seat? 1-9 in ACC play. Is that true in his last 10 games? I guess that's right. Yeah. Dominic Henry again. Do we have receiver crossing routes or check downs? There were check downs. Tommy decided not to take a couple of those tonight. A little frustrating. Martell says Tommy was in extra ass instincts again. Yeah. A lot of it looked confused and happy feet, rat trapping, you name it, whatever the term you want to call it, it was there. Antonio. Jeff's interview with Luke yesterday on the JCS got me hyped for NBA-style basketball in Tallahassee. When does practice start? Well, Antonio, it already has, and they had a big practice today.
Can we just run that interview tonight instead of doing this?
All right, good night, everybody. We'll see you. Mark says, I just want to throw in quarterback. Yeah, frustrating night. Gene, if you're ready, I say let's get to the phone call.
Yes, let's hear from the fans.
All right, here we go. First one, it was a pleasure to meet him yesterday. It was a pleasure to meet so many of you at Corner Pocket and Hotel Indigo this weekend, but I met him at the CP. His name is Marlon in Miami for the 21st time on Warchant TV. Marlon, I'm sorry to say it's going to be a tough ride home, my man.
Oh, man, it's going to be a hell of a ride for me. But, I just want to say that our deficiencies are showing, and you can't give teams 2-3 turnovers in the first quarter. You just cannot do that when you're deficient as we are on defensive line, and we have a small quarterback, and it finally caught up to us in this game. His stature and his inability to throw to the wide open man. But overall, I'm still proud of the team. They show fight to the end. You know, those are cheap points, but at least, you know, they're still striving. But if you're going to give up in turnovers to teams in the first quarter, in the first half like that, well, there's going to be more losses our way. And now I got to hear these guys. So thank you guys for. I'll see y'all next year.
There you go. Thank you, Marlon. We appreciate it.
Hey, Marlon, great to see you at CP yesterday.
Hopefully we get to talk to you next week. Yeah, it makes you feel better for a situation like a Sleepy Noon or Pitt, freshman quarterback who played pretty well for Pitt, coming to town. You feel better about Florida State being invested because of the way they finished this game, but we didn't sign up for that tonight. We signed up for Florida State to win a game, put themselves back in the playoff conversation. Instead, you got a resounding message that those 8-4, 7-5, 9-3 talking points we had before the season, probably closer to the reality, Gene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it still could be a decent season. I think going in, I don't think anybody realistically thought this was going to be an elite team. And we all obviously got incredibly excited after that Alabama performance. And then beating up on two Sisters of the Poors, we got some false hope probably from those a little bit. But again, I think it goes back to, like you said, Miami's a really good team. You had a quarterback, had one of those dud games. You had some turnovers, and the line is the line's too thin for that. You can't do that. And you're going to get blown out. Well, Florida State was sort of blown out. I know they made the score close at the end, but yeah, it is the way it is. But hey, I still think it's a good team. I think this is probably Tommy's worst game would be my guess. And they'll still have a pretty decent season, but probably ACC at this point is out of the question.
Yeah, one thing too is the offense just wasn't that crisp outside of Tommy. Like there are these moments where it takes an extra step to execute the end around, or the catch is to the wrong shoulder, so the receiver has to gather himself on a bubble screen.
Right.
And it's just those extra steps cost you everything. There's a tip pass. There's one that Miami safety number 8 played very, very well tonight. Defensive back. I don't know. He might move around, but he gets a hand on the ball when Deuce is wide open behind him. And it's just all these little things. If you needed something to be in stride, it wasn't. If you needed a defensive tackle to not get his arm on Tommy as Tommy's running by, he got his arm on him. And then the fumbles too. We got one back with Deuce right after Chroma had fumbled. Deuce fumbled near the sideline and picked it up himself. But yeah, ball security is going to have to be something that we monitor very, very closely.
And they did, if you watch that, Miami did an incredible job of punching those balls out, because you see when a guy's being held up, the linebacker, whoever's coming in is flying that arm in there near the football. And that's defensive coaching, man. It's a good job by them doing that.
Kyle, thank you for the contribution. This is what happens when you open with 3 cupcakes, including Alabama. I kind of like that. Conference play catches up to you. Very nice. I like that. He snuck that in there. Next up, we go to Bristol. Interesting. John in Bristol. John, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Lang, Mr.com? I hope you guys are doing all right tonight.
Hey, John.
I'll make it real quick, man. Hey, what's up, man? I'll make it real quick, man. First off, my question is, how did Miami get this far ahead of us this fast? I really don't understand. Like, Miami's defense was terrible last year. Now they look pretty elite, man. They're the first ones to stop this offense. And on the note of the offense, man, I don't tend to get overly emotional about these games, man. I don't know if this offense is the answer. Like, the offense looks fun. It's fun to watch. It looks great when we're playing, defenses that aren't as great. But when we go up against a good defense, they just like nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. And I don't get it, man. They came in, laid an egg. The defense couldn't get pressure. They don't seem to be able to tackle very well. And I mean, that's pretty much it, man. This offense just doesn't. It doesn't look like it's going to be able to beat good teams. I feel like Tommy might be able to go ahead and take it on down the road. I hate to say it. I know Gene doesn't want to hear about Sperry tonight, but Tommy didn't look great tonight. We need to hold on to Deuce. Sawchuk. I don't know who's a senior anymore with the transfer portal. I don't know what year these guys are on, but it's just bad, man. It's bad.
Yeah. No, appreciate the call. Thank you, John. I really, I will tell you, when we hired Gus, I wasn't in love with that offense. I say that because tonight I don't think Gus was the problem as much as the quarterback was. Miami's defense is improving fast. I think they're well coached. That was a good hire, the guy they brought in from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of details, coached well, effort. The plays where inches make a difference. They were finding those, making those plays, hustling one side of the field to the other. There's a lot of open plays that Tommy straight up missed tonight. I don't want to be a super broken record about it. It's an improving defense and a good defense team, but Gus had some things dialed up that we just straight up did not cash in on, and that's my working theory so far. We'll see if the all-22 shows that.
Yeah, and John had asked about how did Miami get this goal. They were pretty good last year. I mean, so it's not like it's a whole. But you know what? At the end of the day, I hate to say it, but it's a lot of NIL. I mean, it is what in college football nowadays, teams can be really good overnight and really bad overnight. And we've seen if you mess up on your NIL and your portal and your roster management, and they've been, let's face it, they've been good. They've been spending their money wisely. They're spending a lot of it. Obviously, people like Carson Beck and, a lot of other players that they brought in, but they brought in good players. So they get credit for that. It sucks. But it is what it is. And you're convincing me more and more, Tom, that this is not so much a Gus thing. And, you brought up that point, which I noticed a lot of those short passing routes, screen routes, stuff like that. You're right. He is really, even most of the games, he's really struggled with those to hit guys in stride. And it makes such a difference. If you're running a screenplay and the running back's got to turn sideways or whatever to get the ball, and you just kill the momentum of that. And that extra second makes all the difference in whether he goes for 5 yards or 50 yards a lot of times.
Yeah, this is who Tommy Castellanos has been. It shouldn't necessarily be a surprise. You're allowed to improve. Like Jordan Travis wasn't the thrower that he became until we saw that first game against LSU in the Superdome. Like, holy okay. Yeah. Look at this. He's turning into a different player. You can evolve. And the Tommy we saw against Alabama was pretty sharp, relatively speaking, throwing the football. He only had to 15 times, but he looked sharp in so doing. Tonight, this is the guy, where there's feast and famine for Tommy the thrower, and we got the famine. We got the big famine tonight. Johnny Z. Nolbring Gardner, what's up? Thank you very much for the contribution. He says, great teams make their own breaks. We're not great. Tommy made wrong read 50% of the time, looked totally out of his element. Again, outcoached and outplayed by a better team, looking more like 7-5 or 9-4 at best. Thank you, Johnny. Joshua Keeman, the Canes are the number one team in the country. Changed my mind. They held the number one offense in the country to 3 points at Doak until the fourth quarter. Big credit to them. As horrendous as this game was, that fourth quarter may have saved the season onto Pitt. Fair enough. We fired up the postgame show a little early. We had audio issues with our stream provider. That was nothing on our end, but we appreciate those of you who made your way. And we're upwards of 4,000 people across the multimedia network, about 2,000 almost on YouTube right now. Hit the like button, even though you hate the result. We appreciate your support. But we were firing it up early, and Florida State they kept the game alive. It was a 0.5% chance, but they kept that 0.5% alive, Gene. There's something to that. Yeah. This is not last year's team that when times got tough, they said, screw you, and walked away from the challenge. This team continued to battle.
No, it shows. I mean, and it was very, again, interesting listening to the ACC feed, which I wouldn't have had to listen to her stream, that other clown. Had I known earlier, I would have gone to ACC Network. But yeah, they were really talking about how important that was and how different it was with this team with the leadership and everything else. I know fans don't want to hear that, but it is true. It says something about a team that they have some fight in them. They do believe in Tommy, even though he had an off night. A lot of the stuff in there was very encouraging. Like Joshua just said, that momentum can carry over to next week against Pitt, because you want to talk about I know a lot of people are doom and gloom. They're going to be horrible and all this kind of stuff. If they do lose to Pitt, then I think you could be looking at things spiraling out of control. So their backs are against the wall. That noon game they absolutely need to win.
Yeah, when you think about it that way, I feel better about the Pitt challenge because of the way the fourth quarter went. But
yeah, that's my point. Yeah, I think it's really important.
If they look like they're asleep at the wheel, that could be very, very problematic. Let's see. Oh, we go to the corner pocket. I wonder who this could be. Grill. You know what?
Get that beeper ready.
It's all right tonight. I understand it. All right, Eric Angel at the corner pocket. Eric, go ahead. Welcome.
What's up, Tyler G? What's going on?
Nothing great, man.
Hey, Eric.
What you got?
Hey, man. Man, we should have won this game, but, it is what it is. But I'm mad at Tony White, man. That guy, I mean, I like him as a person, but he's
got to bring it, man. This is a rivalry game. Biggest rivalry game, despite, Florida and Florida State. You got to bring it, man. And our offensive line, my God, what the hell happened tonight? Castellano's out there running for his life. I mean, he had a couple of interceptions. He didn't play very well, but, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But you know what? Fuck Miami. I hate Miami.
There you go.
There it is.
You got it. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I don't know. I thought they'd brought it defensively to start the game, but they knew that they were going to give up isolation to the pass because they had to sell out to stop the run.
Yeah, they did, and they did well. Like you pointed out the stats in the first half, Tom. They did it. They sold out against the run, made them at least go to something was not plan A. Unfortunately, they've got some good receivers and an experienced quarterback, and we couldn't get a pass rush to Eric's point. But I think, and let me ask you, Tom, doesn't a lot of that? I know he was upset at Tony White. To me, when I've seen really the last two games, it seems like it's almost not about having the horses, the guys in the trenches, really to make a difference, to stop that running game, to get pressure on the quarterback. To me, the last couple of games, other than the Sear twins, who look really promising from what I've seen out of them, I'm really encouraged about the future for them. I just haven't seen much of anything out of that defensive front, Tom.
Yeah, I'm okay with what I've seen from Darryl so far this season. When you do have a three, here's why: when you have a three down, you're asking for more from the guy. It's like when you're four, now you're looking for somebody to go make a play and actually disrupt other than or instead of eating up two or three blockers at the same time. Darryl's been, everybody understands what he potentially is, so he's a lot of attention is paid to him. But tonight they had a lot more four down lineman looks, like old school, what we saw last year. Four dudes, hand on the ground, lined up, linebackers near the line of scrimmage. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring it. We're going to go straight ahead. And it worked for a good portion of the game. At the second half, you could tell they were just getting worn down. They don't have the horses. That's the thing. You were operating from a deficit anyway. You don't have special edge rushers. I thought they held up in the interior okay tonight. And then your linebackers aren't that strong either.
Right.
That was one thing you saw tonight, strength. Miami had more of it than Florida State did.
How many 3rd and 1, 4th and 1s? You had the guy, it looked like he was short a yard, and suddenly he's 2 yards further ahead.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of times when the guys are doing the right thing. They're in the right place. They're making the contact, but they can't get the Miami player on the ground. Yeah. So that means that the training's working. That means that the players are not thinking. They're in the right place. They're making the right decisions on the field, but that's just not good enough. Like that is really frustrating, but we knew that might be part of the problem tonight. It's just, I look back at halftime and I see 14-3 and I'm thinking the defense did its job. You know what I mean? Like the offense was just
the 2 touchdowns off 2 turnovers too.
Right. Like if I told you, and the turnovers are lethal, but if I told you we had 3 points at the break, you know what the story of the game is. Like we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. Let's see. Main burner again. Season is over, but stadium looks great. It did look fantastic tonight. You're not kidding about that, Josh. Thank you very much. And he also says Tommy should sell life insurance. Okay, thank you, Josh. Scott with a super sticker. We very much appreciate it. Josh again. Oh man, Josh is in Happyville. Miami sucks. Beck looks like Sid the Sloth. Tony White's bad. Tommy can't throw because he's 4'11". Thank you. And never lose your nerd. Tommy pushes the back instead of throwing it. Pushes the ball instead of throwing it. I think that's what he's saying. Also off his back foot. A lot of things.
Jimbo pointed that out too in a couple of his throws. He said you can tell he's pushing it and not stepping in and throwing it.
Zion Equity Group. There you go. You got a free shout out. Well, not free. And $5. Where do we go here and who is our next coaching candidate? And then he asks Gene specifically. Gene, honestly, do you think Norvell is a good coach?
Wow, that's a loaded question. You asked me a little over a year ago. Yeah, I thought he was a great coach. You asked me at the end of last year. No, he's horrible. I'm in the TBA this year, but I mean, this will be the determining year. You know, a lot of this, I think he made good moves hiring 2 good coordinators. And I think if he has an issue with coaching, to me, it is bringing in talent. I think he does a lot of things very well. I think some of the talent acquisition, whether it's portal, which he was very good at early on, seems to have really struggled with some of that, whether it's recruiting, obviously. And you can blame some of that on NIL, but to me, a lot of that, I mean, you go back and look how many recruits that he's brought up the last 4 years are contributing starters. It's scary. I mean, hardly any. So to me, if he has a weakness, that is it right there. And we'll see if it comes to fruition the rest this year. If they end up with a losing record this year, then I'll have to say he's not a very good coach.
We now go to Cummings, Georgia. It's Richard. Richard, go ahead.
Hey, How you guys doing?
We're hanging in, man. How are you?
All right.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. It's this was kind of the downside of what I expected from the game. But a caller earlier, which kind of changed what I was going to ask, mentioned how Miami turned it around so quick. I have friends who are Bull Gators, and I have friends who go to USF. Miami was able to use their hospital money for NIL.
I've heard that.
I got to wonder at what point in time does the NCAA step in, or the legislature, to kind of, fix this? Because I think they spent $400 million from the hospital to pay Cristobal to come there. So I mean, it's I'm kind of looking at this. It's like, how quickly they built the team. It's like, yeah, they built it quick because they had a lot of money because of taxpayer money. So I just didn't know what you guys thought, if Warchant looked into that, or if there's any, if there's any investigation into that. I just didn't know what you guys thought.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Richard. Gene, you said you heard something to that end.
I've heard rumors about the hospital thing, about them diverting money, and it's complicated because they're technically a private university. So I don't know how all that works. And in terms of Richard's points about the NCAA, when has the NCAA stepped down and done anything other than bugging FSU occasionally? They don't do anything anymore. Heck, Miami went and got a guy from Wisconsin after the portal period had ended. Sure, there's a lawsuit, but I mean, they just do whatever they want in this area, and most schools can without any repercussions. So, that unfortunately, that's the era we live in right now, that Miami can go ahead and, how it was procured, they've had a lot of money, but they made the right decisions. FSU spent money on some people last year, and they sucked. So, I mean, I do give them credit. At least they're spending their money wisely, but they are outspending a lot of teams like Florida State, and it's working.
Yeah, I'm not going to get it. It's a better organization right now because there's continuity. Guys graduate up the ranks. If they have gaps, they pay for the people to come in and fix it. And right now, their talent is outweighing Mario's in-game decisions. So
that's what I was saying. Everybody asked me about the game, and I said, if it is close in the fourth quarter, I think FSU wins because I think Mario will blow it. But unfortunately, FSU didn't get that opportunity.
Josh says, Tom Lang clicking off my comment is wild. This team is dog crap. Water, Josh. Water. You got all your comments read. You're going to be fine, pal. Deck Knight says, guys, Tommy is a great athlete and tries hard, but he's not a quarterback. That's why FSU recruited him as an athlete. He sidearms too much and makes bad decisions under pressure. He's going to lose the team at this rate. He hasn't tonight.
Nope.
You saw that at the very end. They were still very much behind Tommy. You're going to need Tommy, I think, here in the very near future in order to elevate Florida State so this thing doesn't come off the rails. And to that point, thank you for the contribution, by the way. Angela says, this team does not give up. We will run the table. There's the hope.
Oh, Angela, there we go.
Angela has the hope. Could be that Miami's just sadly very, very good. It could be. And you were beaten by a very good team tonight. And next week when you play Pitt, it looks a little bit different.
You might have played 2 top 5 teams already for all we knew with Alabama. And the way Alabama looked at it against Vandy, they took care of business.
It could very well be. It just sucks that we had expectations tonight, and obviously we were not the better team. We now go to Orlando. Jason in Orlando, thank you for patiently waiting, and welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you, guys. I'm not as upset as I am or as I was last year with this team as I am this year. Mainly, I definitely see that the coaching changes have been great, but to be honest with you, my problem with tonight was that we have shown, and in the last couple of games we've shown this, we're so one-dimensional on offense that the teams that we're playing are legit good run defense teams. When you stop that one thing, we don't have that good of a passing game. And we have Tommy, and Tommy, he was running for his life all night tonight. We can't expect a quarterback to run it all the time and it not wear on him. And the hits that he took after the plays and stuff like that, if you looked on the sideline after the game, this dude was in tears at the end of the game. I mean, it's just wearing and wearing and wearing on him. And I have to put a lot of the blame on tonight on our offensive line. We just don't have it. And we're not putting slot receivers in positions where we can offset that blitz with a short pass. So I have to kind of blame it on the O-line, but on some of the play calling, I have a real problem with tonight. What do you guys think?
Appreciate it, Jason. I'm not saying every call was perfect. I don't want to say that, because execution by the players or lack thereof is still on the offensive coordinator. It's still on Gus. So, but I don't have as much of a problem with the play calls as I think that there were a lot of yards left on that field tonight. But I understand what Jason is talking about, Gene, because Tommy was running for his life a lot, and we knew that was going to be coming because Miami's defensive ends are just outstanding.
Well, I was going to point that out too. The offense, and I agree. The offensive line was dominated a lot in this game, but I mean, you're talking about two guys playing on Sundays at the defensive end positions, and the offensive line for FSU, I think, is average at best. It's probably what you're dealing with. So you just hope they can be disciplined and play well enough to hold up. But yeah, it gets in a tough situation when you turn over the ball over and fall behind. This is not a great situation for this offense. Tommy is not a stand back in the pocket and try to bring you back throwing the football. So it got Florida State a little bit out of what it does. And we saw Tommy trying to press in that situation too, which was, an ugly situation.
Well, and I've talked about Tommy an awful lot. We talked about the turnovers. I don't know if you brought it up before the audio thing failed in the previous stream, Gene, but the Rizzi moment is it can't happen.
Oh, yeah, that was another one. That cost you points. You were driving the football. Was it 7-3 at that point?
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, 7-3. You're driving the football again down the field. It looked pretty good, and you can't lose 15 yards in that situation. It was just ridiculous. I mean, it just killed the drive.
Yeah.
And that just, again, that and the two early turnovers, and that to me, that was the margin for error. Once that happened, you weren't going to win the game.
Yeah, a note on the offensive line, just a couple things. In pregame warmups, Jake Rizzi was working with the starters. Richie Leonard did not go through warmups the normal way. Irish FL reported that on the boards. Then in the game, Richie Leonard, boom, he's there. He's starting. It's like, oh, I guess everybody's fine. Don't know what that was about. And then Micah Pettis gets hurt. That was the report coming out of halftime from the sidelines because you noted Rizzi was in, obviously, and Adrian Medley had flexed from right guard to right tackle. So apparently Micah Pettis was lost during the game to an injury. I didn't see the play. So we'll see. We'll have information for you on that.
I'm glad you explained that, Tom, because I wondered what went on there because that whole pregame thing was bizarre.
Yeah, you had two layers to it. Yeah, Richie wasn't around, but then Pettis eventually was the guy. So I don't know what the hell happened, but that's why Rizzi was in the game as best I can tell. Equity Group is back again. Why are we not using our talent? You bring in Squirrel and Jalen to sit on the bench until the fourth quarter. I will tell you, the running back thing, it is getting kind of annoying with the running back shuffle that they play. But that is nothing in comparison to the Squirrel White deal. I don't get it, Gene. Deuce is a very good player, and I don't mind him being featured. But like Squirrel White caught that big pass against Alabama. Other than that, I feel like he's a punt returner and not really a receiver.
Yeah, and he thought he was going to be your slot guy and get a lot of these easy catches. Yeah. It's a little bizarre, and I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have that connection. I don't know. The injury taking a couple that time off. Something's gone on there. I don't know. It's a little. I could kind of get last game because it was just came back. But yeah, that was a little odd tonight. He wasn't getting more involved in the offense.
Well, he was missed on a crosser in the first. I think it was the first drive of the game. Might have been second against Virginia. And then tonight, I think he alligator armed it. That's why he was upset with himself coming to the sideline. That was another sideline report. Before Tommy threw his final interception, which was just an asinine interception. Squirrel was the intended receiver. It was double covered. I don't think he saw the safety. So like Squirrel's around, but we thought he was going to be a featured piece of this offense.
Yeah.
And it has not been. It's been Deuce Robinson and then the running back flavor of the day in terms of pass targets are Danzy.
Well, and the running back thing, I want to talk about that too. I thought we might have seen the passing of the torch with Croma getting the start and everything else until he had that fumble. And then I think that's when you started to see the running back roller coaster go on for the rest of the game. But to me, that was it. I mean, it seemed like he was running well. It seemed like they were starting to say, okay, Croma is going to be our guy, which we all kind of thought going into the season at some point he was going to overtake everyone else to become that guy. But don't you think the fumbles will kind of set everything off?
Yeah, I think so. And Roy Dell got in there for one carry. It was a no gainer, and that was it for him for the night. That was in the throes of the first half. But Sawchuk had 11 carries tonight for 47 yards. Cromot did start the game. That's a toughie, and that's going to happen with him because he refuses to go down. I think that's the trade-off of somebody who tries to keep plays alive. Is something like that can potentially happen. So 6 carries for Cromot. Lucas with just the 1 carry. He had 1 catch for 2 yards. In the bad body language department, I didn't see a ton of it. But I did see it from Jalen Lucas when there was another one of those backside screen calls and Tommy dirts the ball. Jalen, that didn't look good, man.
That's part of it. One of the callers talked about the pass rush and some things you do. That's one of the things why they run that play a lot, because you're trying to negate that pass rush. But if Tommy can't hit these guys where he's supposed to hit them, it doesn't do you any good. I mean, they showed that one when they had all these blockers down there. Again, we saw that set up a couple times and the screen plays haven't worked, even though all the blocking's been there for it.
I think it was 2 targets for Squirrel tonight. He's not listed because he didn't have a catch, but I'm looking at 43 total targets and 45 attempts for Tommy. So and I know that 1 interception Squirrel was a target. So,
well, yeah, if all the guys are going to throw that pass in the end zone too, that's where you throw it to Squirrel.
I know.
If it was Deuce, I can kind of see that he could maybe jump up and try to get it.
The Squirrel's a good player. You got to get more out of him. It is frustrating. Let's see. We got to go to one of our favorites here, and then we'll take a break after it because we usually need a breather from all the wisdom that we hear. This is 100 Proof Football. 100 Proof Football has things to say, including things about the philosophy of this football team. Go ahead, 100 Proof.
Hey, good to talk to you guys again, even though it's such crappy circumstances. I've been told I need to be quick, and you just asked my wife. I can be quick. Let me say, football is a man's game, okay? Look, I'm tired of this offensive scheme and defensive scheme. They're trying to fool people. They're trying to outsmart people and be cute. Line up and hit the other person in the mouth. I'm getting tired of this gimmicky crap on both sides. I said last call, there's a reason nobody in the NFL runs a 3-3-5 defense. It's a gimmick defense. And this offense can be smash mouth, and it can be a prolific passing in space offense, but it's too gimmicky. It's not tough enough. It's not downhill enough. And I was told many times in this offseason that the one thing this Gus Malzahn offense is downhill. So the philosophy of this team on both sides of the ball is not man enough, it's not tough enough, it's not smash mouth enough. It is gimmicky. And one thing in all the Bowden dynasty years, he will tell you when you play Miami and when you play Florida, you cannot settle for field goals. And as loud as that pregame was, we had a whole recruiting commercial for 20 minutes. And in that opening drive, you've got to punch that in. Of all the crazy ass times that Norvell goes for it on 4th down, you don't do it there? What is going on? Also, who did Miami pay to get a bye before a rivalry game with all this gimmicky offense we have to run? How did they get 2 weeks to prepare for it? I never heard of such with us not getting the same thing. So I don't know what's going on, but if you want to look on the bright side, you go, hey, at least we caught punts tonight. Even when they were on the freaking 4-yard line, we caught some punts tonight. So I was glad to go back. And hey, I was glad to hear his analysis. And let's see what's going on. I don't know what's up with this team, but I don't like this philosophy. We need to be grown-ass men hitting grown.
Oh, that was his phone dropped. Oh,
nope. We didn't do that. 100 Proof.
No.
Great call. I appreciate that. Yes.
Outstanding from 100 Proof Football. He was just spitting so much fire, he burned his phone and broke it. We appreciate you, 100 Proof. And yes, that fair catch on the 4 was the icing on the cake.
Well done. But we cleanly fielded a fair catch. So I mean, there's something positive out of that.
There is. One thing.
Why is that so difficult? Because I know and again, listen to Jimbo broadcast, whoever was with, I can't remember who one of his cohorts were there, but he talked about, I stand on the 8-yard line. If it goes over my head, I let it go. Why? It seems so simple, but we see that all the time. Not just FSU. I see it in the NFL at times too. And I'm like, why is it so difficult to do that?
I really don't understand it. In general, with our punt returning coaching, whoever's doing it needs to be relieved of their duties. And that doesn't mean that they're gone from Florida State, because everybody gets a little bit touchy with the word firing and all that stuff. But just, focus on some other part of the job. We not train it well.
Yeah, and 100 Proof brought up the thing too, and I don't remember because I was switching back and forth from the idiot squad on ABC to Jimbo and company. But one of them brought up about they could tell that Miami had 2 weeks to prepare for Gus offenses because it's so hard to prepare for, and all that extra time you could tell it really Miami put it to good use. Again, why? Again, we know why this happens because we're in the frickin' ACC. But I mean, for them to have 2 weeks to prepare for this, ridiculous.
I mean, you did see a lot of it with their defense, where there are misdirection plays, and the guys are their heads in the right place. The Miami players, their helmets are looking in the right place, and they're not falling for things left and right. Yeah, they were well prepared for this, but there were still some yards out there, man. That's what's going to hurt when I put my head on the pillow tonight. It's like, God Almighty, there's probably like 150 yards out there that you could just, from basic execution, you have it. It is dialed up for those extra yards. We'll see what
they got. They got over 400 yards of offense, and that was, imagine those. We talked about the turnovers and the Rizzi thing. How many more yards would they have had? They probably had over 500 yards. Did they just not?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. At the break, they had about 150, and I think they left 120 on the board in the first half. It's like, good God. And now we'll see what Gus has to say. He's available tomorrow. I don't know if that thing is going to go like 2 minutes or if that's going to go 12. I wonder how he handles a situation like this. We shall see. Equity Group is back. Thank you. Why are we not using – oh, no, sorry, I already read that. But it's a salient point all the same. Evan, at least we didn't have to watch James Williams tonight. I knew there would be some James Williams strays this evening. BF Knowles, we appreciate the contribution. BF Knowles says, which game does Mario piss away for Miami this year? At least we have that to look forward to.
Let's hope he does.
Louisville coming off of their –
I mean, that's the problem. Their schedule, they've gone through the tough part of their schedule now.
Yeah, but they have another bye after this. So this was its own game, and then they play Louisville.
Wow, nice.
Caleb says, did Juju win getting snaps? Yeah, quite a few. In the first half, there was on their 4th down, 4th and 1, he was out there. I think he was out there for more than a handful in the first 2 quarters of the game. But yes, Juju win 55 was in the game. We'll get a full snap count rundown.
Yeah, I will tomorrow. I will get up early, and I will I'll scour PFF, and I'll put all the snap counts for both offense and defense. If you're a Warchant member, you can find them in the tribal count. So probably around 10, 11 in the morning tomorrow.
That'll be on the TC. Tony Greco says TC, Tommy Castellanos, needs to take the check down and stop going for the home run. We talked about that this week, man. Tony Tokar's brought it up about Tommy in preseason camp. Miami will give you the check down. You got to take what they'll give you. And Gus needs to call the game to that. Everything is deep routes. I'm telling you, there were some outlets to running backs that were not taken tonight, and it's frustrating. Florida Man in Alabama, thank you for being a member of the channel for 2 months, Warchant Premier. He says, just a thought, Jeff's gut intuition from earlier in the week is fired. Yeah, Jeff was feeling good earlier in the week. Next time, I'll not jinx the boys and stay in Alabama. Sorry, Florida Man. Sorry. Safe home. Equity Group is back again. Do you think we need to substitute less to build more continuity? At running back, yes. Gene, is there a position that pisses you off in terms of personnel usage?
I think that's the least of FSU's problem. I know a lot of people are complaining about the running back things because Isaiah Holmes' example in the Virginia game. You know what? FSU was moving the ball up and down the field at will against Virginia. I don't care how many substitutions. If you're moving the football effectively, it doesn't matter to me. But I do know there is a lot of coaches will tell you at the running back position, sometimes it takes guys to get going a little bit and get into a rhythm. And I think what happened tonight, again, I will repeat it, Cromwell was the guy. He was going to get the bulk of the carries until he fumbled the football. And then they gave Sawchuk most of the carries. But again, why does Roydell Williams get 1 carry and then we don't see him again? Just like Keziah Holmes got 2 carries?
Yeah,
2 carries the week before and disappears. That is a little odd. Maybe the next time we get David Johnson, the running backs coach, somebody can ask him, like, what is the philosophy on the personnel? I'm curious. Again, I think that's listed on 100 of the things that went wrong for FSU. So I wouldn't harp on it, but I am kind of curious. That does seem to happen in odd ways.
Well, that's what happens when you're a post-game setting. If you're in your car right now driving home, or you're at the tailgate, or you're sitting with your friend on the couch, after a game like this, there's always that moment, Gene, when your friend says, like, and why is it also like that? There's that other thing that irks the hell out of you. That's what happens in this situation. First name, John. He's John from Bristol. Okay, now I know that. That is filed away. Wanted to say I love you guys at Warchant. Appreciate what you do. On to Pitt next weekend for a dogfight. I'll be there. I was worried it would be a boring game. Go FSU. Ooh. Well, thank you, John from Bristol. We very much appreciate the support and the phone call. We will be back in 2 minutes' time right here on the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In Show. I'm going to get a refill. It's going to be water. We didn't do the drink-o-meter. I imagine it's water for you tonight.
I think we have one. No. I don't know if we want to pop that up real quick.
You do? That's my fault. What poor hosting on my part. Let's do the drink-o-meter right now. Oh, you were going to have a goose.
I am having it.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah. If we can show this, I'm doing the yes. If people are familiar with athletic beer.
Oh yeah. You're having the zero. You were going to have the Goose Island if they won. That's just too bad.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm punishing myself.
Yeah.
But I'll sleep better.
Everybody go get a refill. I'd like to say it's a social time. Maybe it's a therapy beer or a therapy drink. I'm going to go get mine. Y'all get yours. We'll be back in 2 minutes right here on Warchant TV.
Greatness is built through passion, perseverance, and an unyielding commitment to one's trade. It starts with dedication and the relentless pursuit of perfection. The early mornings, the late evenings, the sacrifices made, all for that one moment of knocking it out of the park. On every job we do, TSpark, we conquer all peaks.
It debuted with us last week, but we want to say welcome once again to Lucky Goat Coffee for being a part of the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In show. They're Tallahassee's hometown coffee company since 2010. Lucky Goat, it's a really cool spot. As I said last week, I think most every meeting I have with Gene face-to-face is in a coffee shop, and 80% of those times we're at Lucky Goat enjoying the beautiful smells of the coffee shop that is at Lucky Goat. Gene, I know as a customer, you love what they produce, you love their product, and you love the atmosphere at Lucky Goat here locally. Any stories that you have or any brew that you're drinking on right now, what you got?
Yeah, I've been a loyal customer since they had the original one on Capitol Circle. People in Tallahassee are familiar, with that probably. It's so packed now because it's so busy. They kept opening more and more locations all through town, and now they're all over the place. When we went to Destin recently, they were out there, so it's really great to see them expand. They make great coffee. It's a really cool vibe. They have in their coffee shop, good food, a lot of good gear. Probably need to get me some Lucky Goat hats and stuff. That's really cool there too. But I'm partial to the Snowflake Crunch, which they used to just do in the wintertime, but I mean, they will break it out every now and again. So I get real excited about that. Even if you just go to the Roastmaster, that is a really solid coffee, but they also have all the regional brews. It's really cool. They be like Costa Rican, Brazil. They have all those kind of things too. Plus they do a lot of specialty mixes. You want a little chocolate in your coffee, some really cool stuff. So it's a really cool setup. And just at the end of the day, Tom, it's outstanding coffee.
If it was made of Everclear, I'd be drinking it right now. Last year, Lucky Goat launched its franchise program. The response has been incredible. 28 franchise locations already signed, nearly all owned by FSU alumni, parents, or families with Seminole ties. With average sales topping $1 million per cafe and proven systems in place, timing has never been better. Founded in 2010 with one goal in mind, Lucky Goat Coffee was to make great coffee. They're looking for new partners, new franchise partners across the Southeast and all the way out to Texas. People who love great coffee, share Lucky Goat's community values, and they want to bring that same vibe to their hometown. So if you're Seminole who's passionate about craft coffee and you're ready to own a business with deep Florida State University roots, visit LuckyGoatFranchise.com, LuckyGoatFranchise.com, or call 850-756-1884 to learn more. Thank you, Lucky Goat, for your support. We now go to Atlanta. Thank you for your patience. It's Bam in Atlanta. We haven't talked to Bam since last year. Go ahead, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, Bam.
Hey man, Gus offense is Gus offense. I think we got enough talent offensively to win every ball game, especially the teams that's left on the schedule. The problem is defensively, we can't stop anyone. We got to get better defensively. And if we want to finish 10-2, the ball is in Tony White's. It's in his corner. He's going to have to figure out a way defensively to keep us competitive, to get better, so we can finish with a winning record. I think offensively, I think that we're fine. Defensively, I just think that we like you said, Gene, earlier, we got to be able to recruit better.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been able to recruit better. We hit on the transfer portal a couple of years in a row, but we kind of faded away from that. You know, Norvell has to get more consistent in bringing in more talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So, like I said, man, it's in Tony White. It's in his corner. The ball is in his corner. Can he scheme up? Can he get the defense to play good enough to win out? And when you look at what's left on the schedule, we're good enough offensively to beat everybody left on the schedule. Defensively, can we hold up? That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate
Good
it, Ben.
call, Bam.
Thank you very much.
Bam makes some good points, but I think I'm curious to get your take on this, Tom. That might be the best offensive. I mean, Miami might have the best offensive line, or at least they got one of the top 5 or 10 offensive lines in the country. Alabama also does. So you play 2 unbelievably good offensive lines. And I think we all agree Florida State does not match up talent-wise defensively against those. So I only know there's only so much. Some of it is on Tony White, but there's only so much you can do schematically when you're getting pushed around in the trenches.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to Hunter Prue's call too. You know, they're dealing in deception, both of these coordinators, but when you do have a talent deficiency, you need that in order to mitigate, the deficit. The thing that's annoying about tonight is you're looking at measuring sticks of where an in-state rivals program is and where yours is. And Miami is significantly ahead of Florida State as a program in this moment. We kind of knew that heading into the season, but still, when you beat Alabama, things kind of change. And you say, "Oh, is this rapidly changing moments?" And we just add another chapter to the book of the up and down of college football.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be. And I thought, honestly, he schemed up a lot of things. Interestingly, tonight they were able to stop the run in the first half, but also, Gene, there were a couple of moments where the Miami offensive line miscommunicated, and Florida State had free rushers up the middle between the center and the guard. Like, there were a couple of times where it looked like, the mad scientist was working, but the longer you go, the more plays there are, and Miami's playing from in front. You're playing at the tempo that they want because they're choking the life out of the ball, and they're just going to lean on you, and you don't have the guys. So it's a tough. You're between a rock and a hard place. You want to have them scheme it up and play tougher, but you don't have the players to do it. Yeah, it is on Tony White. Bam, we appreciate the call. We hope you call back next week. Scott in Jacksonville. First-time caller, Scott? Welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. Good evening. You guys are the best in the business. I appreciate all your analysis you do every week. One thing, I think this is a result of just Miami having, just better recruiting and, doing better in the portal. And it's nothing really more than that. I mean, Jimbo Fisher was there today, and I would sure like him to come back on our staff as just a recruiter. When he was a head coach, nobody beat us in recruiting, and we were elite in recruiting. Now we're not. Now we're losing out on all the elite recruits. I remember Saints. I think we were in it for him, and we lost out on him. We constantly lose out on elite recruits. And then everybody else is catching up to us in the portal. And there's, like you said, there's only so much you can do as a program if you don't have the Jimmies and Joes. When Jimbo was around, you had elite talent, 5-star talent, elite talent. Now we just do not have it. And I don't know if Norvell could ever get there. I mean, I think he's a good coach. I think, we have a good offense. We're doing what we can, but it was so glaring tonight. The talent disparity it's just obvious. And then the only other thing I could say on defense is, what is it going to take to maybe limit the 3-3-5? I mean, we're running the 3-3-5, and Virginia and Miami are just pounding it away on us. And, we weren't able to stop it, and we weren't able to get penetration into the backfield, and we continue to run the 3-3-5. It just doesn't make any sense. Just put 8 men in the box and try to get penetration. That's about it. I appreciate it, guys.
You got it. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Appreciate it too. I think partially you're answering your own question to a degree. You don't have the players. So, especially compared to what Miami has in the offensive line. So you're operating at a deficiency to start. What I would also say is go back and watch that first half, and you'll see more 4-down linemen.
They were daring Miami to throw the football.
Yep. Yeah, they were. And there were a lot more crowding the line of scrimmage, a lot more mugging the front where you have like 6 guys at the line of the snap. And sometimes in those situations, you only have 3 people with hands on the ground and you're rushing 3. I'm not saying it was a four-man rush the entirety of the first half, but Tony came in with a game plan specific for Miami and made some significant changes tonight. But it's one of those deals where if you're saying you don't have the players, what's with the defense? Why won't the defense get better? Like, you're answering your own question a little bit there. The good news is, Gene, you pointed it out correctly. You're not going to see an offensive line like Miami's the rest of the year. That's the good news. We'll see what they do against Pitt and how locked in they are, but they fought to the bitter end on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, that's why I think that Pitt game is so important, because after this, look, there's not the excuse of, well, the team just outspent you and they just have a lot more talent. You have more talent than Pitt. You're back at home. You've got to take care of business in that one. But I think, ultimately the last couple of callers talked about it. I think it just comes down to talent disparity right now, and the recruiting talent acquisition has been suspect. And in games like this, you're a Brandon Fisk and a Jared Verse away from maybe winning this game, absent just throw away the turnovers and stuff. But you need a couple guys like that on the defensive side of the ball to even the scales with Miami and have a real chance to compete with them at a high level and defeat them. And they just didn't have that. They didn't have that tonight.
We are into Sunday morning on the East Coast. If you are in the queue as a phone caller right now, you are safe, but no more new callers. We appreciate your support, everybody here that are watching. About 1,500 on YouTube at this moment, just under 4,000 across the Warchant multimedia footprint. Thank you for being here on the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In Show. It is built by TSpark Enterprises. It's a crappy night to congregate here, but we get through these things together, and we appreciate your support. If you wouldn't mind throwing us a like at the bottom of the video, not for the result, but for all Nole fans. We will find more of them who are looking for our content if you do that. So thank you for taking a second and helping us out there. We now go. Somebody's been waiting for a half an hour patiently. It's Justin in Tallahassee. Justin, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Man, it was, even though we played the worst football we could for 3 quarters, it was nice seeing Mario get a little nervous over there on the sideline there in the fourth. His late game, just historic, drop in the game late. I could see his nervousness. I wish we could have made it, at least with one onside kick and scare him a little bit more than we did. This all comes down. I was hoping to see maybe Squirrel White or somebody else get more touches. Do we not do any slant routes in this offense at all? Is it Tommy being, can't see over the defensive linemen or what there? But I think Deuce played a good game. Obviously we had to throw it there the third, fourth quarter. And I think we just had to start faster than we did to really be in this football game. And we just started slow and we had to play catch up. And, I don't think that the sky's falling at all. I think Gus has kind of warned us in his press conference that are brief, that, if you look at it, they've had a fall camp with offensive line together. So yes, Alabama win was great, but I think our expectations got a little too high too quick. So I think our season's still ahead of us, but a little positivity there.
Appreciate it, Justin. I think that's a well-reasoned call. There's the Pitt game is going to tell you a lot about how invested this team is. They were tonight for all 60 minutes. They fought to the end, but letting this linger for a week and then kicking off at noon against Pitt next week, we'll see. We'll see if there's a hangover effect. Certainly there was one in the Rose Bowl today as Penn State went across the country, and they were down before you know it, 24-7 to UCLA. You don't want that happening in your own backyard here next week. We appreciate contributions from Kyle. Like Jimbo said, no one is looking out for the best interest of college football. Thank you, Kyle. C. Black, Norvell don't recruit good enough to be at FSU. Josh, once again, you're the man, Tom. I had some water and now recognize the errors of my ways. I'm a Warchant member. Thank you for subscribing to warchant.com, Josh. We appreciate your support. It's all right, man. It's a hefty and heavy night. Oh, looks like we got a little Shane O'Mac. Can we get the Shane O'Mac?
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Here comes the money.
Nicholas, thank you so much. I know we play bad, but why ain't nobody talking about the turnovers? The turnovers cost us, especially the touchdown bomb right after one of the turnovers. Yeah, we haven't repeated that over and over. We did talk about it in the beginning, Gene, but those turnovers were
well, when your margin for error is pretty slim when you're probably at a talent disparity team like this, the last thing you do is just turn the ball over. And then to Miami's credit, they immediately took advantage. They knew the momentum shift was there, and so they went for the knockout kill, and they did it a couple times off those turnovers. But yeah, you can't turn the ball over 3 times, lose the turnover battle. And then also we talked before about a couple other key things that happened, especially in that first half, that just really put all the momentum on Miami's side.
Equity Group getting after it tonight. How do you call a timeout to call an interception? What the hell are we doing? Well, that's Tommy. That decision is absurd. Yeah. That is something you see a freshman do. A freshman who's overwhelmed on the road, not a veteran at home. That's an asinine throw.
They're trying to get all the points back on one play without even thinking it through.
Steve, ball carrier is always falling forward, gets old. You ain't lying, brother. Garrett PCL, thank you for being a member of the channel for 7 months. Man, you must have joined right. Fired it up. It's not the end of the world. We were 2-10 last season. Let's go 8-4, land a good recruiting class, and beat UF. Miami's a legit team. Go Noles. Appreciate it, Garrett. Thank you very much. Back to the phone lines we go. We go to John in Boise, Idaho. John, welcome to the program. How's it going, man? Sorry, John. Hang on. There you go. We had a little hiccup. Go for it, John. Go for it. Thank you.
Yeah, you there? Yeah.
We got you.
Outside of my backyard on my fire pit, and just aggravated as hell as again, giving up this game because of stupid plays and penalties and turnovers. So I had 3 quick questions for you. One, where was Landon Thomas tonight? I didn't see him but one time on special teams. Where was 19 on defense? That one touchdown, he got burnt, and yet you're our best defender on defense. And then I'm watching these big plays coming across the middle. Where is the hell is the pressure from? Where's Daryl Jackson? You're playing Miami, your ex-team. I'd knock their ass on the ground and stomp on their throat. Put that quarterback down. We can't get any pressure. He's a 5-year quarterback, and he's going to pick you apart. He should have won the Heisman 2 years ago. You know, this guy is a damn good quarterback, and we're not getting any pressure. And I just don't understand what happened. And it's like, I guess I just don't understand it, guys. We got no pressure. The second week ago that I thought they were going the ball down our throat, and they did, and they just beat us by the pass. But we have no pressure again. And it's like Daryl Jackson. I did see one. Here's another question: is that Kevin Wynn? How do you line up offside? You lined up offside and give him 5 yards. And I just, like I said, I don't want Jimbo around. Jimbo was a curse for us. Keep your sorry stuff away from Florida State. And, go Noles. And like I said, I'm going to sit back and have a Jack and Coke for you guys. And I'll talk to you next week, guys.
There you go. Thank you,
Thanks, John. Enjoy it.
Enjoy the fire pit, man. Because, there's a lot of things about tonight that I wish we could throw in the fire. It was not a good night. And I think Jeannie had that energy I just brought up a little bit ago. And what about this? And what the hell was that? And God dog it, I've told you, I hate when we rotate the running backs too much. Like John captures the energy we're all feeling tonight. I think the simplest answer is that's a better football team on the other sideline. And that sucks because that's our rival, but they're the better football team.
Wasn't one of the positives we started to see it in the last game is Randy Pittman. We talked about Landon Thomas, but I mean, isn't Randy Pittman the man now?
Oh, I'm telling you, between Deuce and Randy Pittman, those are 2 guys I think that have futures on Sundays.
That's one complaint we've not gotten, which we've been getting every day pretty much since we started the show, Tom, was why doesn't Florida State use the tight end more?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, they're doing it now. At least that's some positive.
They are. There is something to the idea of Tommy's height and throwing over the middle. I think there might be something to that.
They asked about crossing routes, and I wondered about that.
Because that would be an area where you would use the tight ends, especially in Gus's system up the seam. That's a big throw in this offense. You haven't seen a whole ton of seam throws to tight ends or slot receivers this year in this offense. Randy Pittman's hands are so friggin' strong, Gene. It's ridiculous. If it's around him, it's a suction cup, and he's going to catch the ball, and it doesn't matter if he's landing on the ground, or the fourth down play last week where he's getting his neck roll pulled as he is just such a strong receiver of the football. He's fun to watch, and he'll knock your ass out in the blocking game as well. A lot of fun to watch him. But Landon Thomas, we'll take a look for the snap count tomorrow. So if you're on the boards, head over to the TC just before lunchtime, and you'll see if Landon Thomas did participate at all. Southernmost Seminole, win or lose, I love my Noles. There's no surrender, and that's something to celebrate. We won 2 damn games last year. The Bama game, the Bama win gave us a false sense of hope, but we're worlds better this year. Fair enough. Thank you very much. Deck night once again. Why don't we ask Gus the running back question tomorrow? Also, Drinkometer Social Time brought to you by the Deck Night on the Rocks. Just saying, Tom, Gene, this could be a thing, a really good thing. We appreciate the contribution. It's non-alcoholic beer. I actually grabbed a soda, so that's a strange one.
That's kind of the way the night feels.
Yeah, it does feel that way. A little flat. This soda's not flat, though. We go to Grayson, Georgia for our penultimate caller tonight. This is Mitch. Mitch in Grayson, Georgia. We talked to you last year. Welcome back.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you?
Hey, Mitch.
I'm just wondering, I love Tommy Castellanos to death. But when he gets in a situation, why don't we think about putting Sperry in to give him a series of downs? It seems like that he has played well when he's gotten in there, and it might give the team just an uplift. That's all I got.
Well, thank you, Mitch.
No, that's fair. I will tell you that I think a traditional passer of the football racks up more yardage tonight, but you got to be fair here. Tommy was running for his life an awful lot. I don't know that Sperry would have held up under those conditions with Reuben Bain and Mesidor.
And think about how good that pass rush is, and it was probably tempered a little bit because they had to worry about Tommy and keep contained. You get a more pure pocket passer back there. They are pinning their ears back. And you don't put a freshman in a game like this of this magnitude. I know Tommy did not had an awful game for him. This isn't the right moment for something like that. Look, I'm not against that later in the season, depending how things go. Because, for all intents and purposes, the ACC is probably done. So maybe you get him a series here or there in real time, not just in mop-up time. So I agree with that going forward because he is the future. I like what I've seen. But tonight was not the night to throw Kevin Sperry out there.
100 Proof Football. How can you ever expect to beat Miami with 0 sacks? #cheeks. Yeah, it really. Beck was enjoying the night, I think.
And we knew you had to move him off his spot. That was the only way you had to make him uncomfortable. And FSU didn't. I remember one time when they got through, I think it was Nicholson or somebody came through on a stunt and got in his face. But other than that, he was pretty much clean all night.
Yeah, Florida State was credited in this game with one quarterback hit. It was McCray. I believe
McCray.
Yeah, McCray. I think he got hit in the arm as he was throwing the football.
That's right.
But one quarterback hit tonight for Florida State. That is not going to get the job done. Whether it's through a 3-man rush, 4-man rush, a blitz, you got to hit the quarterback way more than that. Our last caller of the night is Noles 93. It's Noles 93. I hear he's a little salty. All right, Noles.
Oh boy, let's go.
What you got?
Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight? One thing, I am so tired of Norvell going for 4th and 5+ in the first quarter when our defense is playing pretty sound. Punt the down ball and make them drive the length of the field for a score. That right there cost us the game. As soon as Miami got up 14-3, they knew they had it because they knew Tommy couldn't throw us back into the game. And 2, if we ever want to be elite again, we got to find a head coach who can recruit elite. That's all.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, Noles 93. I hear the passion in your voice.
Yeah.
These questions about Mike Norvell, talent, acquisition, all that, they're going to come up when you look 28-3 bad against your rival. I know what the final score says, and we give Florida State credit for not packing it in. I'm not throwing them a parade because you're supposed to not pack it in. But there's a reason the score was 28-3, Gene, and Miami had better players. That's just the way.
Well, to me, it was the turnovers and the talent. At the end of the day, throughout the turnovers, Miami still probably wins, but I think FSU's got a fighting chance to maybe pull it off. But yeah, with the turnovers, they had no chance. But yeah, that, at the end of the day, all the other criticism, I've not been a big fan of Mike Norvell on the fourth down calling. I've made that very clear in the past. But at the end of the day, yes, I think someone asked earlier, what do I think about Mike Norvell? The biggest issue I have is the talent acquisition. Whether you say it's traditional high school recruiting or portal, he's been incredibly inconsistent. And you see the difference tonight. You can see that. And I know a lot of it's NIL, but a lot of that has to do with not only the talent, that's why I say talent acquisition. Getting a guy who's a high 4-star in here and paying him the NIL money is one thing. But if he doesn't produce, he doesn't get in the field and contribute, so what? That looks good in a rating, but that it doesn't matter. So to me, even those high 4-star type players, and I know he's not gotten a lot of elite 5-star type guys, but even some of the 4-stars never seem to pan out. To me, there's something wrong with the talent evaluation in there as well.
Just a little more than 6 weeks ago, we were looking for a team to be improved, more talent, more balance, more heart. This team checks all those boxes, but when you beat Alabama, the expectation changes because you think, well, could we go from 2 wins back to the playoff discussion? Could we be inside the bubble? And obviously that bubble bursts after this game tonight. There's no path, I don't think, anymore to anything like that. This team is better. Mike Norvell has done a good job to right the ship in that way, but tonight shows you how much farther you have to go. Yes, they've achieved better, but they have so much farther to go. And then next week, Gene, this is the one that tests the heart. Next Saturday. It's a big game for Mike.
I'm nervous for this because, it's big for him. It's big for everybody. It's big for the season, but you're right. It's bigger for him. If he blows this one, I hate to even bring that up because it's just scary to think what happens if they don't win this Pitt game at home. We're back to how ugly it is, and it already feels like that Alabama game was a little flukish. It almost feels like you got them in the right situation with a quarterback that had no experience. The moment was too big for him because it looks how Ty Simpson's playing now. It doesn't look like the same quarterback in my mind. So, it's starting to call a lot of things into question. But if you go out, and I think they will take care of business against Pitt, okay, it could still be a pretty good season. It will be in line with our preseason expectations. This could be an 8-9 win team, but as long as they take care of business next week.
Yeah, if they don't take care of business next week, y'all are going to be thinking about things like remodels, like a new service provided by TSpark Enterprises, got an outdated bath or shower. Whether it's your home or business, TSpark delivers fast, pro-level bath and shower remodels, and it could be in as little as 1 day. No fumbles, no turnovers, just top-quality work and a clean finish. Ready for a game-changing refresh? TSparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. I think if Florida State loses next week, Gene, which I don't think they will, ready for a game-changing refresh is what people are going to be saying walking out of the stadium. Not just
refresh the coaching staff.
Yeah, that's right. We appreciate TSpark for sponsoring us here on the show. A couple more contributions. We're going to take one more break because we have to bring you one more message from TSpark, and we still have 7 comments. Y'all have been so generous again tonight. We appreciate you for the group therapy session here on Warchant TV. First, Mark. Finally made it to Indigo and enjoyed meeting Jeff and you, Tom. Turnovers were the downfall tonight. So disappointing, but F the scum and go Noles. Thank you very much, Mark. Gene, it was packed beat to the gills again today at Hotel Indigo. It was a great atmosphere. And
I made it out there, but it's great. I mean, in CP, I got to talk to a lot of fans Friday night at CP, and it's so cool when people come into town. We get to meet a lot of the people that we see every day in the message boards and everywhere else, but be able to interact with them firsthand is great.
It's folks like John that make this whole thing work. So thank you, John. We appreciate you. Mr. Walking Billboard says, where were the player coaching talent excuses after the Bama game? # false sense of hope. False sense of perhaps achievement and what could be. But fair enough. When you lose, you look for the reasons. When you win, you don't look for anything. You just look for another drink because you're celebrating. Thank you for the contribution. First name, John, again. Appreciate you, John in Bristol. Maybe the offense should focus more on passing first going forward. They look decent in the fourth. They did. There were some open passes tonight. Wish we had.
And how many fourth downs did they have to convert? I don't think that's a sustainable game plan to do what they did in the fourth quarter there.
Yep. Oh, agreed. Well, Miami's also playing back as well. So, there's a lot that goes into it. We will be back in 90 seconds with closing thoughts here on the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In show built by TSpark Enterprises. Hang in 90 seconds. We'll be right back.
It rains 130 days a year in Tallahassee, which is 1.7 million gallons of water coming down, plus 500 pounds of leaves piling up on your roof, and maybe a tree branch or two. We spend 23.5 hours a day thinking about roofs. We've driven 60,000 miles in a year serving our customers. We've climbed 2,000 ladders to install over 100,000 shingles. You've got one roof. Let TSpark worry about the rest.
Here's a fun name. David Butter says, been listening to Wake Up, Monday Night Smash, Jeff's Daily Show, and every pre and post game Tom and Gene host for 5+ years. Time I start paying up. Thanks for all you do, gents. It's not necessary, David.
No, David, but we appreciate it.
We very much appreciate it. He doubled down because he's got a thought here. Thank you again, David. We have reached our ceiling with Norvell. This program is on ice until his contract ends. Buyout would crush us. He's a nice guy, but doesn't take recruiting seriously. The job is too big for him. Are we taking the bait on that one, Gene? Or
I don't agree with he doesn't take it seriously. I just don't think he's very good at it. I think there's a difference.
Yeah. David, thank you very much for your support for the last 5+ years. Thank you. Ryan says, I'm beginning to question Mike on game day. He has a panic look on his face. I don't understand the 4th and 8 call instead of kicking the field goal / pin Miami deep. The onside kick in the third was a head scratcher as well. I don't know if he had a panic look. Last year's Boston College, 100%.
I was going to say, if you compare last year, the deer in the headlights look to this year, it's not quite to that level yet.
Then again, I wasn't paying attention between plays all that much. Sometimes I was doing things for the day job. So I'm going to go back and take a look at that, though. You might have a point. We appreciate the contribution. Leo says, hey, it's Leo from the old creative staff. Miami is legit. Hate to say it. FSU team culture is clearly better. Pitt is now our biggest game of the season at the moment. 2 words, ball security. Holy smokes, go Noles. Thank you, Leo. We very much appreciate it. The old creative staff. And then Yuckmouth, as always, we like to close out with a Yuckmouth contribution. Disappointed but proud we didn't quit. Still think we can win out, but need to eliminate the turnovers and dumb penalties, finish tackles, and have TC make better decisions. Appreciate y'all. Go Noles. Yeah.
True.
Quarterback's got to be better, and here on the rest of it too, right, Gene?
Yeah. I mean, limit the turnovers. Your quarterback had a bad game, needs to play better. Got to tighten some stuff up. I mean, you still, again, I know we're getting close to the closing comments, and I was thinking about this, Tom, but I mean, isn't this team now, it just didn't happen the way we kind of thought early on, but I think this team is pretty much what we thought they were. I think we got ahead of our skis because of what happened in the opener against Alabama and blowing out 2 Sisters of the Poor teams. But at the end of the day, this is probably around an 8-win team, give or take a win or a loss there. And it's just, I think at the end of the day, that's what it's going to be. I mean, they're much better than last year. It got much better quarterback play, not necessarily tonight. And I think they've got better coaching on both sides of the ball. So, I mean, it's an okay team, but Miami is a better team. And I hate to say it, but they are.
Yeah, I wish this defensive effort tonight, it was what we saw last week in Charlottesville, because I think you'd only have 1 loss on the ledger. But this team is learning on the fly in the NIL era. I think Ira coined the term the microwave era of college football. They don't stay together very long. There's a lot of characteristics of this football team that I still like, even after tonight's loss. It's just you got a dud from your quarterback too tonight, and that's poor timing. That's never a good thing. It's always going to put you in danger, but that this is a hurtful time for that particular kind of effort. But there's a lot of things, Gene, that I think are markedly better than last year, and they could sneak 9, 10. I don't know about running the table, but 9 wins out of this thing.
And I think that's the upside. I think the upside, but I think, and what's the downside? 7 maybe. So I mean, again, we'll see. I mean, after Pitt, I think we'll know. Assuming they take care of business at Pitt, I think you're pretty much in that 7 to 9 win range somewhere at the end of the season.
Yeah, this just needs to be the worst night of the season for your signal caller. If it is, then you're going to be in position to win many of, if not all, the games
Mm-hmm.
down the stretch. We will be with you next week around 3:00, I think.
Much earlier.
Much earlier.
Have to get some of that Lucky Go coffee. I could actually drink it then.
There you go. Get the Everclear blend for tonight. This has been a rough one, but we appreciate everybody out there because you're what makes this whole thing better through wins and losses. Wins are better when you go through these things all together, and then we all get together maybe after a big win over Clemson on the road or maybe Florida down the stretch of the season. It makes those all the sweeter. So thank you all for being here.
Oh, by the way, I am wearing this shirt. I want to honor this guy, too.
Oh, there
we
you
get out of
go.
here.
Look at that. They did a good job with that tonight. And that's Garnet Gold.
By the
right?
way, Garnet Gold, I don't know if they still got any. I think you have to go in the store. I think Tara told me they didn't know if they would have them online because they had a limited supply. So if you're still in town, maybe in the morning, swing by Garnet Gold and pick some up.
Never a bad time to honor the great Lee Corso. So that's really, really cool. Z-Chan says, I'm thankful for the heart this team shows. On to the next one. Thank you very much. And we'll give you a Shane O'Mac.
Yeah, thank you. Z-Fan.
The official DMD of Warchant TV. That's a good sentiment. They fought tonight. They just weren't good enough. Florida Man in Alabama, thank you very much. Also getting one in under the wire. For what it's worth, this is my first time seeing the upgrades. Well done on all accounts. Yeah, the stadium looked TV presentation of the stadium looked absolutely fantastic tonight. What you can expect here on Warchant TV, you will get the Warchant wrap in short order. If they haven't already completed recording, I'm sure they'll be completing that very, very soon. All the press conferences from tonight, if you want to hear those, are available on Warchant TV. I'll take a pass tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'll give Mike a break. I'll take a break. And then in the morning, I'll check out what the players and what Coach had to say. And then on Warchant.com, you're going to have Corey Clark's column, an IRA 321, PFF grades from Gene Williams, including the snap count distribution. Did Landon Thomas play, as one caller asked? Those kinds of answers available to you on the Tribal Council tomorrow morning as well. Anything you wish to promote, Gene, before we sign off for tonight?
Nope, I think you got it, Tom. But, I just want to tell people, all is not lost. You're so much better than last year, and I know we all got our expectations up after Alabama. I did too. I thought the way they looked against Alabama in the two cheese puff games, I thought, man, this could be a playoff team. This is really exciting. And we got some cold water splash in our face the last couple of weeks, but I still think it'd be a pretty good season, so hang in there.
Everybody hang in, get some good rest, take it easy on a Sunday. I know that's what I'm going to do. We want to thank all the callers. I want to thank Terry Clark, as always, for screening the calls. He does such a good job of that. I want to thank Director Nick Carlisle behind the scenes. We had a lot of ones and twos going on today to start the show because of the audio issue with the previous stream. Well done handling all of that. Gene, appreciate it as always, and thanks to everybody for supporting us, whether you did it monetarily or just bringing an idea to the chat. You advanced the conversation. Thank you all very much. And also to our sponsors, TSpark Enterprises, and our segment sponsor, Lucky Goat Coffee. All right, everybody.
And Nick behind the scenes. Don't forget Nick taking care of all the dirty stuff back there.
It has been an interesting night. Yeah, Director Nick Carlisle hanging in there. He's got a long face, but he's working on it. We all do right now. We all do tonight. All right, everybody, hang in there. We will be talking to you very, very soon right here on Warchant TV and Warchant.com. And have a good and safe Sunday morning.